In this video, I'll be showing you how to add a pre-tax medical deduction in Employer on the Go. Depending on the level of access granted by your payroll company, you may or may not have access to all the features discussed in this video. With this feature in Employer on the Go, you can create your own pre-tax Cafeteria 125 medical deductions that can then be assigned to your employees for adjustments to their paychecks. On the main dashboard page, you'll begin by selecting Company, Setup, and then Deductions. The bottom right-hand side of the screen, you will select the Add icon. From the Type drop-down, select Deduction. The Master ID field is not used for W-2 category deductions, like the one we're creating, so that is not needed for this example. In the ID field, you'll enter the description of this deduction. This field is limited to 10 characters and will be what the employee sees on their pay stub. You can enter the name of the deduction in the next field, and this will show on any company reports you may run regarding this deduction. The calculation method for a health deduction is normally set as a fixed amount each pay. The shortfall collection is used if an employee may not have enough money in their paycheck to cover this deduction. This normally happens to a tipped employee. So here you can set up what you would like to happen when with this deduction if that occurs. So by selecting None and Uncollected, they both do the same thing. The system will just deduct the amount that it can, and any amount that is not paid is just that, uncollected and not paid. By selecting Mandatory, the system will have the company make the deduction on the employee's behalf. If or when the employee has a shortfall amount to pay back in subsequent payrolls, the system will pull that money back and pay the employee back. If you select Voluntary, the system will not make the deduction on the employee's behalf. However, on any subsequent payrolls that the employee has the amount, the system will try to make them whole and pull the shorted amount. You also have the ability to run shortfall reports in our system. The frequency represents how often you would like this deduction to occur. Review these options and make the applicable choice. Please note that where it states first pay through first 4 pays, this means of the month. If you choose to have a vendor, an Employer on the Go will create a vendor payment on your behalf to make these health payments through the system. Upon close, the system will create either a live check or an electronic payment that your payroll provider will make that payment for you. The max amount field is the maximum amount this deduction can withhold from the employee in a calendar year. This can also be adjusted and set up at the employee level. If you like, you can enter a default amount, either a dollar or a percentage, depending on your calculation method. What this will do is automatically insert that amount in the deduction when you add it to an employee's record. All items underneath this field can be ignored. It is either used for custom work or future engineering enhancements. The center section of the screen, Use Earning Codes in Percentage of Gross Calc. This section will not be used in our example, as our calculation method is fixed amount each pay. However, if you have a deduction and an employee chooses to deduct a percentage of their gross pay, you can tell the system which earning codes should be included in that deduction calculation. In the Taxes to Include or Exclude section to the right, we will be selecting the taxes to exclude for our deduction. If this were a taxable fringe benefit, you would select the taxes to include in that TFB. For the W-2 category, select the applicable pre-tax health deduction you are creating. Based on what is selected, the deduction amount will print in the appropriate box on the W-2. For this example, I'll select 125 cafeteria plans. To select the tax to exclude, you would select the pen icon next to that tax, select the box to exempt, and select the check icon to confirm it. You would do this for all applicable taxes on your list. The tax jurisdictions you see on this list here are all the tax jurisdictions that are currently set up for your company. The defaults on the bottom page are available to customize. They'll show year to date on the employee's paycheck. The use as company default means that any new employee you enter in the system after this deduction is created will automatically have this deduction on their file, waiting for you to enter amount. If you choose to have the default, then no further action will be required. You would check the next box if the deduction is deducted from the workers' comp calculations. If our system is making a vendor payment, do you wish to include the company match or the employer-provided health care benefit? Do you need to tax this match? Do you want this deduction to continue after the maximum amount? Do you want to decrement this employee's deduction from the employee? Meaning, should the system have a balance and count to zero and stop once this balance hits zero? If you're creating an HSA deduction, you can have the employees and the employer contributions sent directly to the HSA bank the employee has. Would you like to include the employer-provided health care benefits in the box 12, code DD, of the W-2s, the employee's W-2s? And if you need to track this deduction as an ACA deduction, you would select here. Once completed, you would hit Save on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. You're now ready to begin using this deduction on your employees. If you have any further questions or need further assistance, please contact your payroll company. Thanks.